Dante's Discussion.
Welcome back to another edition of Dante's Discussion Answers. That's right, where we're answering the question I set forth 2 weeks ago. And that question is, as you can see on the screen, what is your playstyle like? Or what type of playstyle do you have? Or what do you do when you try to play? And this is, of course, in terms of Dark Souls 2. Obviously, I mean, if you don't know that by now, what the hell's wrong with you? Anyways, what type of playstyle are you? There are many different types of playstyles, many different types of scrubs. Let's see them all right now. No, I'm kidding. Let's go right off the bat. Starting off, we go to FextraLife, where I also posted this question, and we go to Carphil. Carphil says, Fashion Souls to the max. Screw stats. Badass weapons. Alana axe. Artie's sword. Lloyd's greatsword. You know the deal. Pyro only magic. Cool looking. Enough to use. Tactic is, well, I'm assuming tactic. Tactic is to buff the crap out of you with useless buffs, such as fruits that give you that red, green, black, or etc. Paired with a cool looking gear, usually black, or with a cape, because capes are awesome. True, this is fact. Then spam decapitate you out of here until your opponent jumps off the cliff or disconnects, whichever comes first. If they have enough Havel souls on them and decide to face you, spam cool looking pyro such as firestorms so they can fear your wrath. If that still fails somehow, pray to your gods to be merciful on your opponent's souls, then get close to them and spam R1, then bow gesture. I love it. I love this. This is one of my favorite things that anybody said is they're all for the fashion. It's fine the way they play. They're gonna just try to kill somebody anyway. They're all about the fashion. They're all about looking cool. Doesn't matter. Their tactic is to scare the enemy away. Look cool. Have that red aura. Have the black garb on. Have the insane, sword or great sword, ultra, whatever. Start throwing powers on the ground like you don't even care. Just try to scare them and make them never get close to you until they get disconnected or jump off the side. I love it. I'm a big fan of that, and it is definitely true. Capes are awesome, even if they are useless, as The Incredibles, the Disney movie, has shown. Anyways, let's go to another person. Plateaus777 says, at start, I like to test my opponent. I try a few baits and other actions to see how they react each time so I can adjust my playstyle accordingly. Now, this is most likely true for, I would say most good players. Generally, if you don't sort of test out your opponent and you play one style, you're gonna get more losses than someone who tests somebody out and understands how they may play. So that, I agree with that. I like being as aggressive as my weapon allows. The best defense is a good offense. Even with sides, I like not to let my opponent recover, especially after a combo. However, you have to not overdo it, as you will be left with low stamina or bad positioning. Pressure is key. After I combo, I pressure my enemies, which usually leads to more successful hits or a desperate attack to get some space, which makes for an easy parry. A fight goes like this. Test them, hit them, pressure them, leave them a little time to retaliate. This guy really sounds like me, honestly. I mean, this is almost exactly what I personally do. As you can see in my 170 videos or whatever the hell I have, this is what I do. Almost every fight is I try to pressure people as best as I can. Rarely, and of course it depends on the weapon, but if I have a super slow weapon, that you sort of have to play a little bit more tricky to get some hits off, because they're so easy to dodge and get away with, especially in the wait and see game, which a lot of people love to play that, but it's an effective game, so it's tough to really go against them. But at the same time, so is healing, but I don't see many people heal. So, it's this dynamic of people and ways to play. Anyways, let's go back to YouTube. UncleOhD says, Festivus for the rest of us. I'll take you on in feats of strength. Now, of course, he's referring to not this shirt, but the shirt I was wearing in the questions answer. Yes, I love Seinfeld. I'm a big Seinfeld fan. I will take UncleOhD on anytime he wants in feats of strength. Anyways, he goes on to say, fast weapon, aggressive to the point where it's suicidal. I love it already. There are certain weapons where I do that, and to a fault, and I think daggers are one of them. Suicidal till almost till I lose. Don't let them have a chance to attack. Yes, I love that. Attack first, stun them, you can't get attacked. It doesn't always work. There are certain people, though, who have terrible connections, which even if you hit them way before they even press their trigger, they still hit you, and it's a trade. And I've lost many times doing that, and I don't really know how to combat, obviously, internet problems. Anyways, he goes on to say, slow weapon, still aggressive, but more cautious, and try to lure the enemy into my attacks. Yes, of course. I don't use offensive spells, and my armor is whatever I think looks good. I agree with that. I like to use armor that looks good usually, or decent armor. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. My favorite tool is Zweihanda, and I love knocking people on their rumps with the two-handed heavy attack. Trivia: Zweihanda is German for two-hander, and as it is German, you need to pronounce the W with the V sound. Zweihander. Yes, he is correct. I mean, obviously, but we are in America, so we can say and do whatever the hell we want, because it's a free country, USA. All right, anyways, not exactly how the dictionary would show it or write it. People feel it the most comfortable in the phonetic spelling when enunciating. Hope I don't look conceited. No, it's always good to learn something, UncleOhD. Not a big deal. You weren't calling anybody an idiot. You were just saying, hey, this is how you should pronounce it, or how it is pronounced, because it means two-Honda in the German. All right. Next up, we have Jacob Kaskowski. Great sword, two-hand, jump, two-hand parry for the win. It's exciting, yes. I don't know if that's just, all he does is just jump stab and then parry. And I like it. I like to see those. Well, as you said, Dante, as Master RPG says, or Master RPG Gamer Souls says, I look for setups with precise timing and faking out your opponent with a parry thrown in here and there. And parries go the same way, using a setup or your opponent with tactics and precise timing. That's something that Lord Relic always does, is he'll do this sort of like well, it's a real swing, but it's basically a fake swing. He swings and then he parries right after, because usually that's when someone's like, oh, they're open for an attack. Let me get that counter damage. Let me get that destruction. Nope, parry, and then they get climax and they're dead. Next, we have Quan Limputera. I hope I'm saying that right. He comments a lot, so I really appreciate it. But Quan Limputera? All right, anyways, he says, type, medium aggressive. That's what he thinks he is. My greatest weapon, clarity of my mind. Always trying to read opponents. Rely on reflexes. Then attack or roll, parry, ha ha ha. But I am suck against healers. Cheaters, sometimes I can't keep too calmly dealing with them. Yeah, no, I definitely see what you're saying. Healers are annoying. And it's, you know, it depends on how your character is built. If you have one play style or one character that is sort of set for all PvP and you don't really change things, then you should have like a climax or some way to punish those type of people. But, you know, even still, it is very difficult to punish a lot of healers. But also, you should also have a heal on you at all times, or at least a way to somehow heal in some aspect, so that you can even the playing field at least a little bit. Especially if you beat them already in the beginning to where they needed a heal, you can beat them again. Let's be honest. But yeah, that's great. Clarity of his mind, that is key. I mean, you could be the greatest showman, the greatest button presser, 39 buttons per second you can press, and you can still lose to somebody who they just think they're better, you know, at thinking. They understand that, oh, I know what this guy's gonna do. Let me parry it. Boom, climax, dead. All right, next up we have Nat Thorne. Nat Thorne is back, and he says, I'm an aggressive player, and because of that, I never go above 40% carry weight, so my stamina regenerates fast enough for the aggressive playstyle, and I can stay breathing on my opponent's neck all the time. I also try to get my poise usually to 76. If it's less than 76, it doesn't matter to me if it's 0, except the throwing daggers will stagger you when low poise. That's interesting. Didn't know that. I also try to parry the opponent at least once, and I prefer melee. I do not menu swap parries, though. Kind of scrubbish, and the illusionary rings are the same. After a certain level, the armor / clothing is all about the fashion. I agree. I do agree. Fashion souls is surprisingly huge in this game. I do buff, though, and I try to be as polite and honorable as I can. Plus, I never send hate mail or reply to them. That's good. My favorite... All right, there's a few things on this one I want to take or 40%. It never goes above 40%. I like that. I try to stay under 40%, but for cosplaying certain armors and weapons together, it's really difficult. So sometimes I have to go above. I noticed that when I'm above 60%, I do play much worse because the rolls are much slower, and you're slower and you can't move around as quick. 50% is similar. 40%, and if you're in the 40% range and under, like 50% and under, I guess, because it starts after 50.1%. That's when I'm most comfortable and I can basically do most of the things I can. When you're after that, though, it's certain things that you thought you can roll out of or run away from, you just can't do it anymore. So that is very important. Stamina is very important for an aggressive player, obviously. I'm still aggressive when I'm a fat ass guy, though. Very aggressive. I'm one of the few people who I just exhaust my stamina just completely almost all the time. I don't know why. Like, it just seems to work for me because I don't know, a lot of people aren't aggressive enough to really see that someone is out of stamina. If you see someone breathing heavily or their last attack was strangely slow, run after them and destroy them. I don't know why people don't do it. I do it every single time. I try to count how many times, somebody attacks with a certain weapon in a row if they're spamming. And then I'm like, okay, so if my character takes 7 of these attacks and this guy's on 6, there might be a good chance he either has very low or to no stamina. I'm like, that's how you do it. Maybe you don't go as crazy as I do sometimes, but in your head, you got to keep that little log in, right? Let's see what else he says. Oh, he also says that he never sends hate mail or reply to them. I only sort of send hate mail in one aspect. If somebody heals, I'll just say nice heal. That's it. Nothing like hateful. Well, I mean, it's supposed to be snarky and hateful, but... And then if somebody sends me something stupid, I do reply to them, but then I make fun of them. I make fun of them and not even the game anymore. And then I notice that really stops them. And they don't ever say anything because they're like, oh, he's right, I'm an idiot. But I'm also a jerk sometimes. Anyways, let's go next. Oh, Thorne also says, I play with target lock on, but if my opponent plays unlocked, I start playing unlocked too, and weirdly it has worked. Well, even though I'm not that familiar with it, but I've won more unlocked fights than I've lost against other players who play unlocked. I have not, no one has proven to me that unlocked is better than locked. When I see someone unlocked, I'm like, oh, cool, it's this guy who spins around for no reason. It has not benefited them for most of the match. And I don't know, for me, I have not seen the benefits of it fully. There are certain weapons, especially bigger weapons, where playing unlocked, you're able to sort of accurately swing, a gigantic sword or something in the best direction that you can. And that I definitely understand why you would want to do unlocked. But for the most part, I just don't get it. I don't know. Somebody please show me the way of unlocked. I mean, I rarely play unlocked. I play unlocked if I use like a bigger weapon that has more of a sweeping motion, because I think it's actually better for a lot of those weapons. You can sort of time things more correctly and whatnot. But locked is where it's at for me, personally. JS Pumpkin King says, my gears are high poise, ton of armor, Ivory King, ultra wind sword, and even Lois says backup. My playstyle is mostly full armor berserker style. I'm a bit aggressive. With my armor and weapon, I don't really mind trading hits with anyone. Usually I'll have to bait them to think I'm out of stamina, and then BAM! The trade. Then when they are almost out of health and panic, I pull out the Ilium Lois and finish the job. Not always the most effective, but it's rather high success rate. No, that's hey, I think that's great. I think, although I freaking hate that ultra wind sword. I hate it, man. I suck against that sword. It's got like the craziest range. The ultra poise where it's like, well, what the hell? It does, like, sometimes the way I play is I usually try to hit people before they can hit me. That's usually how I play. If you want to beat me, be a wait and see player. That's how you beat me most effectively. Or use a stupid wind sword that it doesn't matter. The hyper poise, you just break through everything forever, and then you get hit twice, and then that's half your life, and it's like, well, what the hell? So I did like 200 damage to them. They did like 1,000 damage to me. And I was supposed to break their poise, but hate that thing, man. I hate it. I suck again. That's one of the few weapons where I don't know. It's like that's one of my lowest percentage wins with against those weapons if someone is effective using it. I mean, usually I can sort of aggression bash people down, but there are some people who are really good with it. Anyways, next we have Skunk Boy. My style is a medium set. My favorite weapon class are spears or medium shield like Dragon Quest. I sometimes use heavy armor, but I like to use black rope set. My playstyle is like a mind trick move, can sail, and I'm not very good at PvP. I consider myself as an okay player, but you're the best, Dante. No, you're the best, Skunk Boy. I thought it was Skunk Guy. Now it's Skunk Boy. All right, either way. No, that's cool. I mean, it's spears. You almost can't go wrong with spears, right? I guess the only way you go wrong with spears is if somebody is just using a shield, and then it's like, okay, what do I do at that point? But then you just gotta bash your shield in, or maybe take out some sort of rapier and get through the shield. I don't know. There's ways around every type of thing, but yeah, spears are great. Let's go back to FextraLife. We go to Lizard 12304. Maybe that's their zip code. I don't know. My answer to both of these questions depends on what I'm using. If I'm using a battle axe, I play super aggressive to catch back rolls with the R2. If I'm using the Dragon Tooth, however, I play a lot more patiently and try to bait my opponent to get hit by a reverse roll attack. Yes, you know, sometimes with bigger weapons, you do have to sort of fall into that tribe of wait and see. Sometimes. I still try my hardest not to be in that stupid tribe. If a fight is close and we both have similar health, I guess maybe I fall a little bit more in that, you know, because that little tiny bit is. But even I try to stick with my game plan, because I don't like that when people do that, where, you know, they're getting destroyed. Let's say you're at full life, they have basically nothing left. Then they play the super wait and see game, and it's like, bro, like, not to be a dick, but I could just pull out the bow and you'd probably be dead. Or, you know, you can fight normally like how you would and then be dead. This wait and see game is just, it's annoying. I don't know. I really hate it. As you can probably tell, I keep bringing it up and hate it. Anunnakis says, and I love this. This is one of my favorites. Flamboyant. I go light, move a lot, switch weapons, try to go for pairs, even for spells. This guarantees an awful lot of stupid defeats, but some satisfactory wins. I love it. This is what I love. Now, this is sort of what Lord Relic does. Lord Relic is a little bit flamboyant, chauvinistic, if you will. And it's great. I just like that they have fun doing that. They switch a lot. I've seen this a few times on YouTube. I don't watch many videos on YouTube or any other players because, you know, I'm too busy working on my crap. But I've seen some people play, and it's crazy. A lot of PC players, from what I've seen, they like to do the whole unlock, switch weapons, roll constantly, back up, never get close to your opponent. And to me, that's just like, that's a play style that really might ruin my aggressive play style. You know, someone who runs away constantly, make sure they keep their distance forever. And that is an annoying fight for me. I mean, I would rather fight a wait and see player who stays close than someone who just runs away and makes sure they keep their distance. But again, I don't know, wait and see-ish, keep their distance. I've seen a lot, but I love this flamboyant style. I do like the fact that you change weapons. I have no problem with somebody changing weapons. I really have no problem with most things except healing. And the only other sort of thing I might have a problem with as far as playstyle is someone who uses the illusionary ring and switches weapons constantly. It is an unfair advantage because it's almost impossible to tell when they switch and what weapon type they switch with. So in that aspect, it's a little unfair in a sense, but then at the same time, if you know they have an invisible weapon, then you do have to play a more conservative game at that point. So it's like you can see the argument on both sides, but still healing. I hate healing. And wait and see tribe, I wish they were dead. Anyways, next up we have Exalis. Exalis says, I generally swing my Chaos Blade like a maniac with my level 838 Havel monster until they die. I kid. Next up, we have... Oh, okay, here we go. All right, we have Pete Hog. Now, Pete Hog says a lot of stuff, but I appreciate it, Pete Hog, taking the time, taking the effort to tell me what exactly you do, what exactly you use. Here we go, Pete Hog, FextraLife. Depends on the opponent and the weapon used. Of course, that is true. I think that is mostly true for most people, how their playstyle is. Some people just don't change at all, which I think is incorrect. You need to change based on what you're going against. Anyways, he says, depend on the opponent and the weapon used. If they use a dagger, I use a spear. That's pretty interesting. If they use a greatsword, I use Cian's halberd. That's also interesting. If they use an ultra greatsword, I use a lance. Okay. If they use a warp sword, I use an S-stock. The moveset of the X-stock seems to counter the warp sword very well. I would say the S-stock almost counters everything very well. So we'll see about that one. If they use a katana, I use Cian's halberd. The Cian's halberd is a great counter against katanas when coupled with the stone ring and old Leo ring. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Of course, I don't know why you wouldn't just use a spear at that point also. Any spear does the same thing. Pate spear also works very well. I'd actually say Pate spear, based on what you're going with, works with every single one of these except maybe the warp sword. So, yeah. But then he goes on to say, if they use a katana, I use Cian's halberd. Oh, already read that. I'm an idiot. If they use a Murakuma or curved dragon sword, I alternate between Sun Sword or Cian's halberd. He really loves the Cian's halberd, or Cyan, however you say it. If they attack, I'll attempt to roll poke with the Sun Sword. Sometimes the timing and lag works and my hit connects. If it doesn't connect, I switch to the Cian's halberd. Cian's halberd is a great counter against ultra curved weapons. If they use an S-stock, I use a spear or I use a Sun Sword. Man, you know, I've seen a lot of great people with Sun Sword. I'd like to consider myself good with Sun Sword and good with the S-stock, but man, the S-stock, if you get somebody who can use the S-stock, and I'm talking about somebody who can hit you first. If you're trading, you're going to lose with the S-stock, right? That's not what the S-stock is about. The S-stock is dexterity. The S-stock is all about hitting you first. Anyways, that's another topic. That's another discussion. Anyways, if they are using Ice Rapier, I block with the shield and then attack with the Sun Sword. I also sometimes use a spear. The Ice Rapier has no shield penetration, unlike other rapiers. If they're using the Dragon Slayer's axe, Battle Axe, Bandit Axe, or Butcher's Knife, I never roll in front of them as it roll catches. That's smart. A lot of people are really dumb and ignorant to that fact. I use a two-handed R2 with a longsword, very good against axe attacks. Why not the Sun Sword? Like, this is a little confusing, Pete Hog. If they're using Great Axe and or Hammer, I try to roll behind for a backstab. If they are protected against backstab, I revert to a lance. I backstab once and then punish with the lance. If they're using Great Hammer, I use Cian's halberd. You love it. You love it. If they're using a lance, I use an S-stock and a shield. I don't mind using shields against lances and even spears. I don't like if people use it and sort of abuse the shield. It's like, well, you're abusing the spear anyway. So that I'm trying to counter it. So I get it. I get it. If they're using an Ivory King Ultra Greatsword, I use the Cian's halberd. It cancels out its attack and interrupts its attack. Well, I don't. You have to hit way before they hit, or before they even try to swing, because it doesn't cancel it out. I don't know what you're talking about. Two-handed R1 and Cian's halberd. If they're using a Reaper, I use Sun Sword. I either roll poke or attempt a roll behind them and backstab them, or I dash with the two-handed R1 with the Sun Sword. It seems to catch Reapers as the reaction time is too quick. If they're using fists and or claws, I use longsword or butcher's knife. Works on every melee fighter I've ever fought except for the fighter called Shazbot. Come on, only talk about me, Pete Hog, not Shazbot. If they are using a halberd, I use a Sun Sword and roll poke or two and R1 rush. If they're using twin blade, I use something with range. Twin blades don't have reach. Well, apparently you haven't fought the Red Iron Twin Blade, which has a ridiculous reach and can really mess you up. Okay. If they're using Sun Sword and or Longsword, I use a spear. If they are level 838 with high poise, Minotaur helm, Aval arms and legs, and Drake Keeper's chest with the Sun Sword, and they are doing a two-handed R1 rush, I have no other way to beat them other than to do the exact same setup as them, aside from pairing, which I cannot do. You sound like me, bro. There appear to be no counter against a skilled high poise eye armor, sun sword fighter. If they are a mage, I use the following. It's very in depth for each applicable type of weapon or playstyle, I guess. A. Magic. Magic infuse Lilwyn's shield better than magic shield because it has excellent stability and can eat a soul crystal barrage without making you lose stamina. B. Darker lightning. Dark infused watcher shield. The two most common elements in the game. C. Fire infused buckler or fire infused curse bone shield. That's interesting that the buckler would be one, especially since you don't parry, so that's interesting to me. And D, all of the above, rebel shield. Yeah, I mean, looks like this guy's prepared for everything, by the way. I just want to point that out. Absolutely prepared for everything, and I really do think that, you know, based on the playstyle of everybody, being prepared for everything is the best. I mean, that's what you should try to do and try to accomplish anyway. You really should try to read your opponent. Your playstyle is just the base of what you have going on in the game, right? So you're starting off, you have your playstyle. I want to be aggressive, but then it's like, all right, let me sit back for a second. I'm going to try to be aggressive. Let's see what happens. Testing your opponent out, right? So your opponent then is super squirrely, unlocked, they're rolling out of the way. Your aggression really isn't working. Then you're like, okay, maybe now I have to be tricky aggressive. So tricky aggressive, roll punish or something, right? So you do need to alternate your playstyle. One playstyle doesn't work for every single person forever and ever. That's just not how it works. You can still be the greatest player in the world, use one playstyle, and you'll lose against somebody. It's just how the game works. So you really have to read your opponent, and it's very important. A few people said it. I really was looking for more playstyle arcs. So most people said aggressive. If everybody was aggressive, then there would, like, everybody's not aggressive. All right, I'm just pointing that out right now. Everybody isn't aggressive. There are wait and see players, okay? And it's tough, again, to see exactly how you play yourself. I would like to think I play more aggressive than most people. I could be wrong. I do have 170 or so videos logged in. You can check it out. Tell me exactly how I play. There are players who are super punishers. I would say a master RPG roll punishes you to hell. Like, if you make a mistake, you're getting punished by him like 90% of the time. Seriously. And that's great. You know, that's awesome. He's one of the people that you need to be on your toes, because a mistake will cost you half your life, straight up. He's going to do the R2, or he's going to poke you and get that counter damage plus old Leo ring damage. That's just how it works with the weapons he uses in his playstyle. Someone like Lord Relic, you see the showcases, they're in my channel. Someone like Lord Relic, he's more of a flashy parrier. He likes to be a little bit more flashy, but maybe not necessarily on purpose, but more of, he utilizes his trickiness well to, you know, catch somebody in a parry, destroy him that way. Or he does some tricky, fancy move to get a random hit off here that you weren't expecting. Like, oh, wow, I can't believe he did that spin attack when he rolled after, but he did another roll and then a backstep, and then he turned his back to me, and then he spawned. Like, that's just like trickiness upon trickiness, and I love that playstyle. I love it. I've seen very few people use that effectively like he uses it. Of course, I've seen other players that heal. You got the healer guy, the healer scrub, the healer wait and see jerk over there, who they can't play for at all. Basically, their whole win condition is to wear you down and hope you don't have a heal or something, and then eventually they just start chipping away at you because you're gonna get hit or get frustrated, get stupid, and they're just gonna hit you. Then you have, I mean, there are many other archetypes. I know I'm missing tons of them, but you know, there's so many different ways to play. Yeah, you have the unlocked guy who plays wait and see. I mean, a lot of them are variations on the already known types, but wait and see, man, I hate the wait and see. I mean, that's all I can say. Wait and see can go to friggin' hell. I mean, if you're wait and see the whole time, they can go to hell. Everybody I don't care who you are, you've used the wait and see at least. I'm pretty sure most of the time people use them like once a fight, right? So usually how I have to utilize it is I'm aggressive, expend all my stamina, then that's the moment when I use wait and see to get my stamina back. You know, it's like I'm not going to attack while I have no stamina. Obviously, that makes sense. Sort of how you have to do it, and everybody does that. I don't care who you are. You have to do it, unless, of course, you don't expend your stamina all the way. But then you're not me, so I don't know. You know, there's a lot of play styles. I hopefully I will try to do a video. I've been trying to do a video sort of showcasing different types of play styles and how they are and how annoying they are, and sort of categorizing them as best as I can. And we'll see. Just stay tuned, and hopefully that'll be a video in the near future. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed the energy here I try to put forth sometimes. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you think, and I will be